Enunciate, you stupid. Just because I killed them off doesn't mean they're dead. There's still a strict schedule I have to follow, otherwise y'all aren't going to know what's going on, and it's going to be more confusing than what like George Lucas did with Star Wars. Part of the main story is romantic relations between two men. If that bothers you, don't care. Hi! She was having a nervous breakdown. She was going crazy. What a batshit crazy experience that was, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Goes without saying, this video is going to contain some mega spoilers. If you are not caught up with Arachnophobic Possession, Sliced, The Taffy Man, The Taffy Man's Revenge, and parts 1 through 6 of the Realm of Phobias Treachery, do not watch this video yet. If you spoil it for yourself, that's your problem, not our problem.
You'll be very confused.
You'll be very confused. You won't know what the hell's going on. You'll be like, who are you people? I'm not warmed up enough to do a proper SpongeBob Patrick sort of voice. You're gonna have to deal with that. Without further ado, you've been warned.
Let's get into it. I wrote notes this time so I don't go all over the place as much as usual.
Yeah, don't underestimate our abilities. We're still gonna go off the rails.
Oh yeah, very intense.
Thank you, I try.
And it didn't make me sad and angry.
Happy days.
I am very happy to know that these people, as you made aware in prior videos, will at some point in time get their revenge.
Oh yeah.
So that makes me happy.
Y'all are gonna enjoy it, you're gonna enjoy it, I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fun to write. But there is a sub count that has to be met for that part. So subscribe if you haven't. I'm not gonna put all of this effort into these really elaborate stories if people aren't seeing them. That's why I have the sub count. Also, I do it to pace myself so that I don't bite off more than I can chew.
Very good idea.
Yeah. The sub count for that story is 30. We're at 29 as when this video comes out. So if you want to see these characters get their sweet revenge, I'll start writing at 30.
Alrighty. I will have to say that the audio and the visual of part 6 was very well done.
Thank you so much.
I really just couldn't stop looking, and the sound and how you were going back to other things.
I guess I'm afraid of dying in general. It's gotten too real. I'm also afraid of death, but more specifically, drowning. I'm afraid of getting stranded somewhere and left to die. I'm afraid of dying alone. I'm afraid of success. Should we never for each other overnight?
I'm going to ask you... Alright. I didn't realize that Mizu had a whole different name, which kind of made me go, what?
Yes, so the reason why she has a different name, I cannot tell you yet. It would be a mega spoiler. Like, I've said before that there's some things that I can't mention because they'd be major spoilers. That one would be like, whoa, megalodon spoiler. I can't tell you. But there is a reason that will be revealed later. I really wanted part 6, or just really the Realm of Phobias Treachery as a whole, to be the center of the spiderweb. My stories have been compared to a web of different tales multiple times. That's why I incorporated it into my brand logo. But if that is true, and my stories are a web, the Realm of Phobias Treachery as a whole is the center. Everything branches off of it. I tried making it as obvious as I could without coming out and blatantly saying, like, this is directly connected to Sliced. Like, I mentioned scissors several times. I mentioned ritualistic suicide with scissors, which that directly goes along with what happens in Sliced, except instead of being ritualistic, it's like this supernatural entity is doing everything. And you're not really sure if it's a supernatural entity. It just feels like it's not natural.
Right.
Which, in this episode, you do learn that it's a supernatural entity. It's Ame Kurenai. And you learn on that topic that she was already dead when she killed herself. Which is interesting to think about. But basically, first slice, dead. Becomes a deity, mutilates the body afterwards. The reason for the laughter, she just went through a lot. Sleep deprived, which was mentioned. She most likely was hallucinating and didn't realize she was awake when she was killing her friends. In addition to that, she just killed all her friends, so that would really psychologically. She just died. That would you psychologically. She basically had a nervous breakdown. That's why she's laughing.
Very messed up.
Thank you, I try.
Very, I'm lost and not at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, I made sure that I counted 25 plot twists, answered a lot of the questions that you would have had from different videos. And then I made sure that some of those plot twists also created different questions, and that the cliffhangers created several questions, maybe more than I solved, but meh. Another thing worth mentioning about Sliced in connection to this story, this was very subtle. If you were really paying attention, you would have noticed this. Otherwise, it might have went right over your head. The ominous whispers in Sliced, which Japanese for it's time, and what time is it? So, jikanda, it's time, and nanji, what time is it? Those ominous whispers, you feel that they're the main character of Sliced, Keiji. This story reveals that it was Amekurenai.
Right.
So you were hearing her, not him. You kind of got a bit of an introduction to her as a character in Sliced, and you didn't know that. And that's why, as a writer, I made Keiji's voice and Amekurenai's voice similar, so that I could do that.
Part 6 makes it really, really interesting.
Well, thank you.
What's gonna happen?
If you thought you knew where the story was going, you don't. It's going in multiple directions. Like I said, this is the center of the demented web. And then, and then the story after this is the first of fantasy, dark fantasy. Like I said way before, I write more than horror. The first story debuting on my channel that is dark fantasy, Checkmate, first book of the series, Checkmate Love Game, is going to be debuting. Right now the tentative date, I believe, is October 25th, 2024 is what I have, I believe.
Okay.
I'll be releasing a trailer soonish. I'm going to teleport away temporarily to grab a pencil. You won't really see anything. I'm just letting you know because it'll be like a minute. You're back.
Okay.
Through the magic of editing, we're both back, and you don't know that we've been gone for like 7 minutes in real life. The next thing that I have written in my notes to discuss so that we stay somewhat on track. Stay somewhat on track. Enunciate, you stupid. Howard Bound is one of the cliffhangers that was briefly brought up in part 6. Howard Bound is going to be, obviously it goes without saying, disturbing. This entire playlist is disturbing. If you don't want the horrific elements, like I said, eventually I'm going to have different genres up on my channel. But it's horror. It's going to be disturbing. Howard Bound, like Howard pointing downward, it's a pun on homeward. And Bound, the main character gets turned into a book.
Oh.
I'm not talking about transfiguration magic. It's not like a wizard turns him into a book. I mean literally skinned alive and murdered in a brutal way, turned into a book.
Okay.
Like book binding. Hellward Bound.
Oh, okay. So that's gonna create all kinds of things that can happen and will happen.
It's a messed up one. I mean, Sliced. If you're watching this video at this point, you've already seen Sliced. Sliced was messed up. If it's a competition, it's probably pretty close. Which of these two is gonna be more messed up?
Yeah.
But I did mention, well, I should say, Amekuru and I mentioned that she needs skin for the tapestry.
Oh. I missed that. There was so much happening.
Oh yeah, he was just like, he's probably gonna have to watch it again.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, you're also gonna have to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a part of the, okay. This is not a part of the series that is like worth watching once. There's a lot. And if you really want to catch everything, if you care to catch everything, it's probably going to warrant multiple playthroughs. This is not a video game. Multiple watches.
Multiple views.
Multiple views, that's what I'm looking for. Sometimes English is hard. So that's going to be Hellward Bound. You know that story is going to be about collecting the flesh and skin for the tapestry. One of which is a character getting literally turned into a book. You also know that several needles to create the tapestry and nails to hold it in place. I'm not sure if I mentioned the nails, but like sacrificial nails and needles, that's also part of where the story is going to go. That one is also naturally, say it with me, extremely f***ed up.
Yep.
You didn't say it with me, it's fine.
Oh! I didn't give my cue.
Well,
I thought he was talking to you guys.
Oh.
Not me, I'm just like...
No judgment. He's not usually on camera. The more that he will be on like this behind the dark veil stuff, the more he'll get used to it, maybe. There's nothing wrong with that. Gotta start somewhere. But sacrificial nails and needles, obviously, like, for these parts, because these aren't released, there aren't going to be spoilers, so I'm thinking how to word this. The main character in that story, or should I say the main victim, is essentially being treated like a pigeon. However your imagination is going, that is brutal, go with that, because that's going to be accurate. The other one that was briefly mentioned was the Realm of Phobias 99 Royale. The Battle Royale is a brutal competition between multiple people. It's at least double digits, sometimes triple digits or more, where everyone is against everyone and they have to kill each other and only one victor. I decided to call this 99 Royale because there are 99 contestants. These are 99 victims, but we'll call them contestants. The other one that's mentioned is Sliced Remembrance. Of course, Sliced is going to have a sequel. Amekuro and I needs more people. For lack of spoilers, you may have noticed that the narrator, Keiji's boss, essentially, in Sliced, doesn't sound very dead. There's a reason for that.
Of course there is.
I mean, he's dead. But he's still in the story.
Okay.
We'll talk about how death works in my stories at some point in this video.
Or doesn't work.
Or doesn't work, yeah, that's a thing too. But essentially, Sliced Remembrance is going to be the sequel of Sliced. Direct sequel, like, not enough blood needs more blood. If you thought Sliced was messed up, oh boy, Sliced Remembrance brings it even further. Sliced Remembrance goes into the initial idea that I had when I was creating Sliced. Because how Sliced came to be a little bit of like a behind the veil thing, that's why I call this Behind the Dark Veil. Sliced was something that came into being when I was giving myself a haircut, literally, in the middle of giving myself a haircut, like scissors in the bathroom, etc. And I was thinking to myself, what if I had a main character who was giving himself a haircut and something went wrong.
Very wrong.
And he brought it too far and started using the scissors for more than just cutting his hair. But I couldn't directly go into that. I decided to be like, alright, I need to set the scene with Sliced. It kind of goes in that direction, but not to the full extent that I want it to go in. You'll see.
We will.
We've learned that the cultists are Ame's family. Ame is the narrator's granddaughter. Who is the narrator? You're gonna have to wait and find out. She was born into the cult.
There's no choice.
Yep, that's the next part. She did this against her will.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, she is so far one of my favorite characters I've created. She's so complex. Right now, she just seems dangerous and evil to you. But oh my god, as you learn more about her, chef's kiss. I spent so much time creating her.
Well, this going against her will, she's gonna have fun.
She is. The cultist killed her father, which will be mentioned, like the story behind that, as well as what brought them to recruit Amekura and I for this ritual will be brought up in Sliced Awakening.
Okay.
The sub count for Sliced Awakening has already been met, so I'm actually already writing Sliced Awakening.
Oh, nice.
There are some stories that have to go up before that so that things are
Tied together correctly.
Exactly. So when a sub count is met, I start writing the story. There's still a strict schedule I have to follow, otherwise y'all aren't going to know what's going on, and it's going to be more confusing than what like George Lucas did with Star Wars.
Okay. That's a good example of how it would be.
Thank you. I don't really want to do that. Also, controversial take. I don't like Star Wars. Sorry about it. Better you know that now. To each their own. If you like it, awesome. Cool. We can agree to disagree. I just think it takes itself too seriously, and it's not serious enough to do that. The ritual is to empower Phineas Cage. This is why I said if you're not caught up with the Taffy Man and the Taffy Man's Revenge, you should catch up with that. Because at the end of the Taffy Man's Revenge, a dark ritual is mentioned. It's also that scene from the Taffy Man's Revenge is brought up in in the Realm of Phobias Treachery Part 6. This ritual was to increase the power level of Phineas Cage now that he's an eldritch deity. The narrator is not aligned with the cultists. You learn that he does not want to work with them. He's pissed off at them. They killed his son. They now killed his granddaughter. What else have they done? You'll find out. You're not supposed to like the cultists. Don't worry. This is not going to be a sympathy for the devil. I'm literally doing everything that I can to make you hate the cultists.
I already do.
Good! Yay! Successful. I will make you hate them more.
Good.
So naturally, that he doesn't like the cultists either, the narrator plans to kill all the cultists. The narrator is going to be a recurring character. He has been introduced. You will learn more about him, his identity, etc. later on. But he's been introduced. He's not going anywhere. Get used to him. You can kind of consider him, I'm hesitant to say a protagonist. Maybe like an anti-hero.
Okay.
He's not noble. The way that he kills people is not noble.
For some reason, I was under the impression that the cultists were all dead already because of the different realm. So you just clarify they are not, but they will be.
Some of them could be.
Okay.
Some of them could be something other than human as well. Because I've already introduced supernatural elements into this story. These are things that are fair to wonder. Another plot twist that was revealed is Crimson will be closely watching Ame. Crimson has been introduced. He's not going anywhere. Crimson is Ame's father and the narrator's son. That is very quickly mentioned at the end, but because that's so important, I made it the last thing that you see. Because psychologically, people are more likely to remember the first thing that they see and the last thing that they see.
Correct.
And the fact that those three are a family is crucial information going forward. So I made sure to, although it's subtle, I made sure that it lingers for a while on the screen and it's the last thing that you see.
Good idea.
Thank you. I have those sometimes. All right, so here's some questions that may come to mind. Things that I, separating myself from the process of being a writer, when I was rewatching it multiple times, thought, someone watching this might think this. They might wonder this, and that's what this is going to be. One of the first ones that came to mind, why did Ame's friends have to die? Why couldn't it have just been strangers? Why couldn't they have just rounded up some random people? Why did it have to be her friends?
You'll find out.
Yeah, you have to wait. Will they get revenge? Yes. I can't stress this enough. Yes.
Good.
Any character that ends in tragedy unjustly will get revenge.
Good.
I have no tolerance for tragedy for the sake of tragedy's sake. As a genre by itself with no other elements, I hate tragedy. Teach their own. Why did Ame use a false name? Again, I cannot tell you yet. Sorry about it.
We'll find out.
You will. Why did Ame have to die? Can't tell you. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of that. Why suicide? Would this be a spoiler to answer? I can answer it partially without it being a spoiler. Suicide is a major part of the cultists' MO. It's kind of their main thing that they do.
Okay.
So if that is a trigger warning that you do not do well with, it's gonna be a lingering thing in the horror playlist. It's already a major part of the plot. I can't do away with it. There will always be relevant trigger warnings in the captions. Suicide is going to be a common one. What's the significance of the scissors? Can't tell you. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been wondering that too, but I want to wait.
You'll learn pretty soon, assuming the sub count keeps growing and these things keep on getting reached and I can get the okay to keep writing. You'll learn soon-ish. I already know. I already have it designed.
Of course you do.
I haven't started writing it out, but like in here, it's already there.
I've had my ideas of where and why.
Well, what's your ideas? Share those. I won't confirm them or deny them, but I'm curious.
For some reason, the other day I was thinking the scissors because I think somehow in my twisted thinking and stuff that...
Oops. Hi.
Oh, no earthquake. No.
I just kicked the tripod. My apologies.
I was
long legs.
I'm thinking somehow the person who invented scissors, that made the first pair of scissors, somehow ended up, the scissors became his demise. So that's where I was going with it.
That's fun. I can't confirm or deny, but that's fun, and that'll make you start thinking too. What or who do the cultists worship? You're going to be waiting a while to find out that one. That story is so involved. I think the sub count, when you start working on that story, I think is 500.
Oh, okay.
That is how involved that story is.
I didn't even think about that, but now I have to. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome! But you're going to be waiting a while. Encourage people to subscribe. These milestones get met, I will keep writing. I love writing. I'm a prolific writer. And in between these ones that are locked behind sub counts, I have lots of freebies that I'll be writing here and there. So, like, not all of them have to be unlocked by sub counts, but some of them do, because I want a certain audience to be able to see them.
Right. Makes sense.
And I want to pace myself without biting off more than I can chew. What are they planning? Again, can't tell you. Why did Ame laugh while mutilating herself? Because she was having a nervous breakdown. She was going crazy.
That's crazy?
This is crazy. Not in a lesbian way.
Oh my.
We have fun. Where does the Realm of Phobias treachery take place? That I can't answer. It takes place in the same location as Sliced. If that was not obvious, I'm saying it right now, outright. It takes place in Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan.
Okay.
And that's why there are Japanese elements in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I speak Japanese, it's a thing.
He does.
What are Ame's goals? Can't tell you. Why is a goddess working with cultists? She's significantly more powerful than them. That's complicated. For now, just keep in mind that they're her family. That could be part of the reason. There could be more. Are the cultists human? We've already addressed this. Yes and no. Which one?
Yes.
You'll find out. And some of them might be human now, and then that might change, as you've learned with some characters, maybe.
Right.
Was Phineas Cage human before, truly? I don't know. Well, I do, but like, you'll find out. If Crimson is her father, was she already not human before? You'll find out. There's a lot of that. Is Crimson a god since he's the rectifier? Maybe. Clearly he's not human if he has that big of a title.
Right.
What and who is the narrator? You'll find out. Did Ame enjoy killing her friends? No. Get ready for some female rage. I love writing female rage. Anger. Powerful women are so fun to write. Oh my god. Oh. What exactly is the Realm of Phobias? As the name implies, it's a realm where fear has a lot of power there. As far as more than that, I can't reveal yet.
Alrighty.
You'll learn more when the Vengeful 9 comes out. The Realm of Phobias Vengeful 9. When that comes out, you'll learn more, and you'll learn even more when the Realm of Phobias 99 Royale comes out. Like, you'll pretty much fully understand the realm at that point.
Okay.
which is also why that one has a higher sub count.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's a battle royale. That's a lot of effort to write. I need people to actually see that if I'm going to write a full-out competition. Where did the Taffy Man and the Taffy Man's Revenge happen? The U.S. Why was Phineas chosen in particular to become a god?
We'll find out, right?
Exactly. Are these creating any questions for you?
No, really.
I'll say that because the friends are watching horror movies and eating popcorn and laughing together, you can reasonably assume that Sliced and the Realm of Phobias is happening like in this time period.
Okay.
Arachnophobic possession, there's not a whole lot to go off of to determine what time period,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to spoil that yet.
Okay.
The Taffy Man's Revenge, I mean, if that happened, it's directly correlated with Sliced and the Realm of Phobias Treachery. Naturally, that has to be modern as well. How did the cultists even know of Phineas Cage?
We'll find out, right?
Yeah. How they find their victims is actually a huge spoiler. Will we see any characters from Sliced again? Of course. Just because I killed them off doesn't mean they're dead. Does arachnophobic possession connect to the Realm of Phobias Treachery? Yes. Everything connects with everything. I might even make us part of the cosmos at some point, if I feel like it.
Oh boy.
But we're real people, so we're going to be a lot more powerful. And I'm the writer, so I'll basically be like a god if I decide to do that. Things to discuss. Death in my stories. Death is not permanent. Lesser villains and greater villains. In my stories, you have villains that are essentially, you're not supposed to like them. They are the true antagonists, like the cultists are lesser villains. Lesser does not refer necessarily to power, it just means like what they're doing, their goals. Lesser villains are just fucking evil. There's no other way to look at it. They're not good. Greater villains of my stories, and you've already been introduced to at least one, Crimson. They have a higher moral code that they are following. They are essentially villains that hunt the lesser villains. Gods and goddesses, they're going to be at different power levels depending on if they were born a god or a goddess, or if they get turned into a god or goddess. Blasphemy is going to be a part of the story, the series I should say, part of all of the stories to a certain extent. I literally have a character killed via crucifixion.
Oh, okay.
And burning alive. So if you do not like blasphemy, how are you watching anything, actually? I can't watch a single thing, really, that exists right now that is not blasphemous in some way or another. So if you don't like blasphemy, like, good luck to you. Religion. This is going to involve fictional religion of different characters in the books. I will also tie it to reality from time to time. I am not Christian. I used to be. Naturally, that influence is going to be seen in some of my stories. I'm not Christian. It's not going to be pro-God whenever there are Christian elements. Genres. Multiple genres. Horror, non-horror. It's a really good way to summarize it. Protagonists. The good guys. The ones that are just constantly doing moral stuff. You're going to have to wait before you get introduced to them.
All right.
High sub count to meet the protagonist, which is interesting to say out loud now that I think about it. It's like you have to earn the right to meet the good guys. Soul destruction. So you may have noticed that at the end of the Taffy Man's Revenge, the main antagonist of that story doesn't just get killed, he gets his soul destroyed. That is also not permanent in my literary cosmos.
Okay.
How does that work? You'll see.
We'll find out.
Possession. A lot of characters will be subject to demonic possession, angelic possession, other creatures possessing them of and against their free will.
Okay.
There will be relevant trigger warnings when that's a thing. Rituals. Rituals are super important to these stories, as you probably mentioned. Different ones, really messed up ones, good ones. The good rituals, as funny as it is to say out loud, you have to earn those. It's going to be a while. Crimson. You've learned that he's not human and that he has a major role. He's not going anywhere. He's a shapeshifter. His form is going to change constantly. I've shared some details about him on Instagram and on Facebook. If you're not following over there, you're not going to have those details.
Right.
I'm not going to share them in this video. You'll find out though. Checkmate love game. Essentially a BL, which stands for boys love, meaning that part of the main story is romantic relations between two men. If that bothers you, don't care. Also, that one is dark fantasy, and it involves the fictional story, I should say, of the origin of the game of chess and the events that led to that game being created.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I thought I told you. I tell you so much.
Yep.
There will be other Checkmate books. I plan on having 5. In His Eyes is the next horror story that is going to debut. It's going to be the Realm of Phobias Treachery is done when this video is out. Yeah, it's done by the time this video is out. Doing the first fantasy series, book 1, Checkmate Love Game. After that is going to be In His Eyes. So in that order, horror, not horror, horror. So next horror is In His Eyes. In His Eyes, I already mentioned, is about Shinigami, which is Japanese for death gods.
Oh, okay.
Arachnophobic Possession. Arachnophobic Possession is part of the Vessel series. The Vessel series is all about possession. And you meet the antagonists, for lack of a better way to put it, which are separate from the cultists. Yes, I have more than one bad guy, don't you worry. And they're known as the Voidara.
Oh.
Because they're people of the void.
Okay. Interesting.
And naturally, there are going to be several other series. I just covered a lot.
You did.
I'm going to have an absolute blast editing this.
Okay. There's a lot to edit. Alrighty.
Do you have any final thoughts before we finish?
Now I have to process now all this information.
Oh yeah, he's learned some new shit. That's right. Yeah, we didn't, I didn't brief you first. Whoopsie.
No, that's fine.
Would you have preferred that?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
He likes being clueless. Whoops. Sorry, just threw my pencil at you. See you later.
See ya. Till next time.